Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Hey, so I spoke to you in this way about 4 months ago,
Yes.
and I'm so grateful and honored to have so much Bashar in my life. So,
We are grateful and honored to have all of you in our lives as well.
yeah, so thank you. And I know your favorite T is brevity, so
Yes.
I'll do a really quick recap.
Thank you.
I got diagnosed with AML, which is a really dangerous and aggressive blood cancer. Doctor said, hey, if you don't do aggressive chemo, you're going to die likely within 3 to 6 weeks. I still chose to be discharged. I did a detox, and then we spoke, and you had said, be open to all forms of healing and just
Yes.
kind of let your life guide you. And I just want to say that was really good advice, which I knew at the time, but it turned out to be really good advice. And yeah, I got through the whole experience in a really kind of flowing, effortless way.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And so in December, we did a bone marrow biopsy, and it showed no detectable trace of leukemia at all whatsoever.
All right.
Testing. So that's awesome. And the real key for me with that was, I think, vitamin C. I think like high dose vitamin C was, I think, super effective.
Was your permission slip?
Right. And so my permission slip, and I don't know how general that is as well.
To some degree it is for many people. Part of the general consensus reality, not for everyone, but for many.
Yeah. And you had also discussed with me that these types of experiences often result in like a shift of focus.
Yes.
For people. And I was trying to think about, for me, because I feel like in a way, I mean, I loved my life before, and I'm going to go back in a very similar way. But at the same time, I think one thing that came out of this experience for me was throughout this whole process, I was making videos to tell my friends how I was doing and just inform people what was happening.
Yes.
And that's been an amazing experience, and I've loved it. And I didn't realize I liked making videos so much.
All right. Well, thank you for teaching yourself more about yourself through that experience.
Yeah. No, so thank you. And so I will definitely continue to do that. And I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel,
All
kind
right.
of upload those and like make more videos as I go.
All right. Up to you.
So thank you. And so I had some questions that kind of relate to this experience. I know you don't do health readings, so it won't be that. But specifically where you say all pain is resistance to the natural self.
Yes, in general.
So, okay, I'll give you an illustration, if you will. So say in a parallel reality, which I would perceive to be my past, I'm best friends with Buddha, okay? Him and I are best friends, and we're walking down the street. We're about to go somewhere to get some food, not like in a lunch sense, but just sit, and then people would feed us, because that's how it worked back then. And he stubs his toe. He's like, Patrick, I stubbed my toe. And I'm like, Buddha, you got to let that stuff go, man. What are you resisting? Would that be good advice?
Not necessarily, because as we have also said, and as many people on your planet have said, sometimes there are just circumstances within physical reality that happen because you are in physical reality. Not that you can't gain some insight or lesson from it, but not everything is a 100% dire lesson. Sometimes it's just watch where you're stepping.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I guess the point I'm trying to make is I understand if, say, you have a expectation something is going to happen and then it doesn't, and you resist that process, then there can be a lot of suffering because of that. Because you say, I don't want it to be a different way, and like I don't want that, and I'm resisting, and it's painful.
That's more what we are referring to when we say that pain is the result of resistance to the natural self, because you are not buying into, shall we say, or accepting your natural flow of how things unfold in your life, and not understanding that things are happening as they happen to give you opportunities to know more about yourself, to have more insight into your relationship and definitions of that circumstance.
Right. Okay. And so that I'm totally on board with. But then does this also then go into, for example, physical pain? So things that so things that I've noticed in my own life, like for example, with this whole cancer adventure that I was on, a lot of people I think experience a lot of pain in these types of processes. I had very little. I mean, almost none, I would say.
Yes.
And so then that would then also be kind of a reflection of
Yeah.
that, right?
You
That
didn't
principle.
necessarily have a high degree of resistance to going through the experience because you were willing to be open to the idea that you would learn something that you needed to learn. And so you used it in a way that was, quote unquote, less resistant, therefore less painful.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I have to say I really loved it. Like that might be
All
a
right.
weird thing to say, but I really like it really showed me a lot, and it was a very powerful experience because I felt
Yes.
like I got to stand in my power, you know,
Yes.
kind of decide my own path, and it just
That's the point.
yeah, and it just fully worked out. I mean, like full on worked. So it was great. I loved
All
it.
right. All right. Thank you.
And okay, so I have another example for you. So say you're my neighbor,
You mean me specifically?
you specifically,
Yeah.
but not as a not like, but you're a human, okay? But you
all right.
specifically, because I like to talk to you. So you're my neighbor, and I see you in the hallway, and I'm like, oh, hey, Bashar, how's it going? And we go in the elevator, and then in the elevator, I'm like, so, COVID vaccine, are you going to get it? What do you think?
I can't comment on this at this time.
Okay. Well,
You
can I
are in
tell you how I
mid-process.
feel?
You are in mid-process. This is a health issue, and you know we cannot talk about that.
Okay. Well, can I just share some thoughts on it, just from my perspective? And
You may share if you wish.
okay. So this is how I feel about it. I feel, well, I have degrees in physics and math, so I love science. Okay.
Yes.
And I understand that there is a sort of social responsibility component where you say, I may not be in an age group where you're very much in danger, but you want to contribute to the idea of getting herd immunity for everybody. And so it's a public service. And you could also say that, well, I mean, I am at a little bit of risk of dying and maybe less risk of dying of the vaccine. So there's also a bit of a personal component there. But I also feel somewhat resistance to putting things in my body that I feel like don't have to be there. And I don't know exactly what's in it, what kind of toxins are in it. So yeah, I just feel like I see both sides of it. And I'm probably going to get it because I like to travel internationally and I think it'll be required. But I just wanted to get your take on it. So
I have no take on it, as I told you. Everyone must find their own path and be open to deciding for themselves what is the path of least resistance for them based on their own belief systems and what they believe works not only for them but in service to others. It's up to you to determine this. We cannot comment on it.
right. Okay. Well, I will just say I certainly have the belief system that if I get it, which I will likely, I will not have any side effects. Most likely.
Don't be
Resistant to
insistent.
that idea.
Don't be insistent.
Exactly. Okay, this is so good. All right, I have another question. My mom and I actually talk about this a fair amount. So you have often talked about we're transitioning, the splitting prism, different parallel Earths, and so forth.
Yes.
And that not everybody that's here with us right now is going to come with us.
Correct.
At least the one I'm going to.
Correct. And you will not necessarily go to the one that they're going to.
Exactly. And so and so we talk about this a lot. There are different theories about how this actually physically manifests. So do we just shift to an Earth where there's less people, or are there like major...
Not necessarily. It depends. There is a version of Earth with less people. But again, you will shift to the version that is representative of the vibrational state that you have created yourself to be. The idea, again, remember, is that there may be other versions of people there that are in the reality you're in now that are simply different versions. And therefore, it may not necessarily be that they have to be less populated, but they may be populated with the same amount of people, but different people who may look the same because they are another version of the people that you were used to in the previous reality, but they will not be the same people, and they will have different approaches and different attitudes and different perspectives that are more commensurate with that particular reality. So it's not a given that the population has to go down, but of course there are some versions of parallel realities where the population is not as high. So yes, that's possible, but again, you'll find that out as you shift.
You know, I bet I will. Yeah, because I feel like there are people that are so away from my vibration, or like where I think I'm going to go.
Yes.
Like, I just like don't see how it's possible even for them to change.
But they don't in that sense. That's what I'm saying. Those people that would appear to be the same people who are different are already in that reality. They're not the same people.
Right.
Just because they look the same doesn't mean they are the same. It doesn't mean the old person changed. It means that you're dealing with a new person who happens to look like the other one.
Right.
Does that help?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And
yes.
Yeah, no, I thought I had so many questions, but now I can't think of anything else to ask. So I think that's it for me today.
Then that is perfect timing. Thank you for your synchronicity and have a wonderful day.
Bashar, thank you so much. I love you.
Our unconditional love to you as well. Good day.
Bye.
Bashar, 11/11/2020, Russia announced that we are not alone. And the geopolitical and space expert Alexander Semenov spoke about the importance of establishing a peaceful collaboration in space. Could you give us your 5 cents on the issue? And happy belated birthday.
Obviously, we are a proponent of peaceful collaboration in space. Different cultures and different countries and nations on your planet will have their own recognition and realization at different timings of when it is appropriate for them to begin to admit and to recognize our existence and the existence of other extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional beings that have, to some degree, already been in contact with your planet, or those yet to contact your planet in a more open way. It's all part and parcel of the timing of the recognition and the opening of that recognition in different places on your planet that will eventually come together in a holistic sense so that the entire planet at one point will allow themselves to recognize the existence of extraterrestrial beings and in their own good timing be open to the idea of forming these collaborative interactions. Again, this will accelerate in the window of open contact that we have now said has shifted from 2023 to the idea of about 2033.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
How's your day going?
Perfect, and you?
Perfect as well. I'm having a really nice synchronicity because it's almost minus a day since I had a with you, and then it just synchronistically happened that I was going to be able to ask you questions. So
all right, congratulations on your synchronicity.
Thank you. So I have a lot of questions about vibration, so hopefully we can get to most of them.
We will get to the ones that are important to get to, so you don't have to be hoping.
Okay, sounds good. So there was a woman I just recently watched Children of the Future, that transmission, and she mentioned a parallel life where she was a sort of doctor in a future reality. And she was talking about they were using vibration to, I guess, heal organs in the body.
Yes, this is a logical extension of where many will be heading in terms of experiencing everything as resonance, everything as frequency. And it will and is extending a little bit more and will continue to do so into your medical technology as well.
Right. And so my question was, I know we've also talked about you gave us an exercise where you could impose a vibration onto a ball and then we would find that it would go into a different location when it was. Yeah. So my question is, are we, or is there a difference, I guess, between imposing a vibration and getting a location and imposing a vibration and healing an organ? Or is there a difference, or how would that work? Like, for instance, if we impose a vibration on a liver, why wouldn't it move to a different location like the ball would?
Because you are not necessarily imposing a difference in the locational variable. You are taking a reading that gives you a different kind of output.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. And then with using...
Although, in a sense, it's the same thing because, again, you are shifting to a slightly different reality where there is a healthy liver. So in a sense, that is a change of location too, just not in the classical sense of moving across a space. Okay,
that makes sense. And then, so with ships, because still with like vibration and the location thing,
Yes.
So I guess if we were to use it, or even just you guys using it to get to certain locations, would
Yes.
you have to know, or I guess, will we find a pattern with vibration and location so that for
Yes.
instance, we don't
You
have
create a grid. You start with your position, whatever position you desire to be the 0 position, and you expand a grid out from there that represents the different locational variables, of course.
And so would that be like an X, Y, and Z kind of thing? So you can like move up and down, not just.
Of course.
Okay. Okay, cool.
It would not only be an XYZ thing, but a T thing as well. Remember, your experience of time is included in that.
Oh yeah, because time is also like a marker for different. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Because it's not only where you arrive, but when.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. And so we'll find that then eventually at some point in our discovery of
Eventually.
yeah, somewhere in the future. Okay. Oh yeah. So then also I know all these questions have to do with vibration, but
You said they were.
yeah. So if we were to maybe impose isn't the right word, but if we were to find a way to impose a vibration, kind of like how you've mentioned Egyptians did. I think I might be quoting this wrong, but I think you mentioned at some point there were certain coffin-like objects where they would go into it and then that would astral project, like they would use.
We were talking about the coffer in the king's chamber in the Pyramid of Giza.
Okay, and so if we were to do something like that, like maybe using stone or something, whatever it is, and then impose vibration, would we just astrally project or would our physical bodies also go somewhere?
Both are possible. Again, it just depends upon the construction and the vibrational resonance that is induced.
Okay. And how would we get back? Like, would it be safe to do it? Or?
Well, there are a number of ways. Again, of course, with astral projection, you are in control of coming back anytime you wish.
Right.
The idea of the chamber inducing astral projection is just something that helps with the impetus of projecting out. It doesn't mean you have to have the idea of a projector on the other side in the astral realm. Your consciousness is sufficient. The idea of physical teleportation is something that may require, again, depending on a variety of factors, another device at the other end.
Right. Okay, so for physical transportation like that, would the device at the other end have to be resonating at the same frequency? Would it be like a sort of, I guess, beacon, but that's not the right word.
Yes, in a sense, it is interconnected. It is sort of similar on a macroscopic scale of what your scientists refer to as entanglement.
Got you. Okay, moving into some dream questions, if that's okay.
Yes.
So I've noticed this past week, myself and some friends of mine who I guess, people would consider like in tune or whatever with the collective, or everyone has that ability, but you know what I mean. We've been having a lot of dreams of, for one, this whole week, the dreams have just been objectively dark, like really like playing on themes either of manipulation or things like that. And then we were also having dreams, a few of us having dreams this week in a row of a lot to do with tsunamis. And I know that could just be representative of the emotional state with water and everything, but everyone's been having them in the same location. It's been in between. Some people are having them in Hawaii and some people are having them in California.
Yes.
So
there is a probability of such happening physically, but of course, there is always also the emotional and psychological component of the idea of great shift and things being washed away to make room for new things. So it is on both levels because there is a physiological probability. It may not be high at this particular moment, but there is a physiological probability of such happening in physical reality too.
At some point in the future?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go back to the vibration question. So with the imposing vibrations on bodies and stuff and astral projecting, will it feel like this is gonna be weird, but will it feel like the body's dying? Because like it feels like
it can. It depends upon the person's relationship and response to the idea of the vibration. It just depends on how cognizant they are of the shift and what the relationship and definition is of the idea that they are shifting into the concept or projection of a completely new personality, which to some may make it seem as if the old personality is dying in the classical sense, even though nothing of the sort is actually happening in exactly that way. So it just depends on the person.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bashar.
Good day.
Good day.